Some of the most unforgettable treasures in America don't rest inside museum vaults. They may have quietly passed through ordinary hands for generations. Imagine reaching into an old coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or a family collection and discovering a wheat penny with a story collectors never stop chasing. Today, we're uncovering 5 remarkable wheat pennies that prove the smallest coins can hold the biggest surprises. But don't look away too soon. Each discovery raises a bigger question than the last, and the final wheat penny could completely change the way you look at every old cent you find. Imagine reaching into an old coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or a family collection and discovering a wheat penny with a story collectors never stop chasing. Today, we're uncovering 5 remarkable wheat pennies that prove the smallest coins can hold the biggest surprises. But don't look away too soon. Each discovery raises a bigger question than the last, and the final wheat penny could completely change the way you look at every old cent you find. Before you spend another penny, stay with me, because the greatest hidden collector story of this journey is still waiting to be revealed. First up, at first glance, this 1957 Lincoln wheat penny doesn't look like the kind of coin that would make a collector stop in their tracks. Its brown color, scattered black dots, and well-circulated appearance might convince most people that it's just another old penny ready to be tossed back into circulation. And that's exactly why discoveries like this are so fascinating. Think about how many times a coin like this may have changed hands over the decades. It could have been used to buy candy in the 1950s, dropped into a family piggy bank, forgotten inside an old toolbox, or hidden away in a dusty jar for generations. While millions of similar pennies disappeared into everyday spending, a few examples quietly survived, with stories that collectors still love to uncover. Now take a closer look. The absence of a minted mark tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Its warm brown surfaces, mixed with black spotting on both the front and reverse, showed decades of real-world use. Those marks don't erase its history, they record it. Every scratch, every spot, and every sign of circulation reflects a journey through American life that can never be repeated. Here's where the mystery becomes even more interesting. Experienced collectors rarely judge a wheat penny by its appearance alone. They examine the date, mint, strike quality, die characteristics, and overall originality before deciding whether a coin deserves special attention. Sometimes, an ordinary-looking penny turns out to be much more intriguing than anyone expected. Imagine opening an old coin jar inherited from a grandparent and seeing this exact date staring back at you. Would you recognize it as something worth a second look, or would it be spent with your next purchase without another thought? That's the question every collector asks before letting an old wheat penny leave their hands. Auction rooms have shown time and again that collector demand isn't driven only by shiny coins. Historical significance, originality, condition, and rarity all play important roles. That's why dedicated collectors continue searching through rolls of pennies, estate collections, and forgotten family boxes, hoping to uncover pieces that others overlooked for years. This particular 1957 no-mint mark wheat penny, despite its circulated condition, carries an estimated collector market value of around $140,600 under the scenario presented for this video. That's an astonishing reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that every old wheat penny deserves a careful inspection before it's dismissed. And if you think this discovery is impressive, don't get too comfortable. The next wheat penny on today's countdown reveals an even more captivating story, one that may surprise even long-time collectors. Next up, the deeper we travel into today's treasure hunt, the more fascinating the story becomes. This time, Our attention turns to a 1952 Lincoln wheat penny carrying the D mint mark, meaning it was struck at the famous Denver Mint. At first glance, it hardly looks like the kind of coin that would excite anyone. Its dark brown color, aged surfaces, and heavy black and brown toning on the reverse make it appear like an ordinary old penny that has simply survived the passage of time. But seasoned collectors know something the average person often doesn't. Some of the most interesting discoveries aren't hidden inside flawless coins. They're hidden inside coins that have quietly lived real lives. Imagine the places this penny may have traveled since 1952. It may have passed through grocery stores, train stations, diners, family farms, or even rested for decades inside an old coffee can in someone's garage. Every mark on its surface represents another chapter in a story that can never be recreated. Now pause for a moment and look closely at that small D mint mark. It's only a tiny letter, yet it instantly separates this coin from Philadelphia issues of the same year. For collectors, details like mint marks are never ignored because they can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a much more desirable collectible. Its rich dark brown shade and natural aging give it a vintage character that many enthusiasts appreciate. While the coin shows clear signs of circulation, originality often matters just as much as appearance. Experienced collectors carefully examine the strike, surface preservation, color, and historical integrity before deciding whether a wheat penny deserves special attention. Here's something worth thinking about. How many 1952 with D wheat pennies have already disappeared forever? Countless examples were spent, damaged, melted, or simply forgotten over the decades. Yet every surviving coin keeps a small piece of American history alive, waiting for someone curious enough to notice it. Now imagine finding this exact penny inside an old family collection. Most people would probably see nothing more than an old 1-cent coin. A collector, however, would immediately slow down, inspect every detail, and ask whether it holds something extraordinary beyond its worn appearance. For the purpose of this countdown, this 1952 with D Lincoln wheat penny is presented with an estimated collector market value of $165,700. It's another reminder that an old penny can become far more exciting once its story, condition, and collector appeal are understood. And believe it or not, we're still only getting started. The next wheat penny on today's list carries an even greater mystery, one that could make you look at every old cent in your pocket a little differently. Next up, now the treasure hunt begins to take an even more exciting turn. When collectors hear the year 1955, their attention often sharpens immediately. That single date has become one of the most talked about years in the history of Lincoln wheat pennies, making almost every 1955 issue worth a closer look before anyone dismisses it as ordinary pocket change. Today's coin is a 1955 with D Lincoln wheat penny, proudly carrying the Denver Mint's D mint mark. At first glance, its beautiful appearance, rich dark brown surfaces, and very fine condition give it a classic vintage charm. Turn the coin over, and the reverse displays a natural dark brown layer that reflects decades of careful survival rather than neglect. It looks like a coin that has quietly witnessed American history while avoiding the fate of millions of other pennies that vanished through everyday spending. Imagine this penny sitting unnoticed inside a family coin jar for 50 or 60 years. No one pays attention. Children count it with ordinary sense. Someone almost spends it. Then, one curious collector decides to look a little closer. Experienced collectors understand that condition plays a major role in desirability. A coin preserved in very fine condition still retains impressive detail, allowing Lincoln's portrait and the famous wheat ears on the reverse to remain attractive despite decades of circulation. That balance between age and preservation is exactly what makes coins like this so enjoyable to collect. The little D mint mark beneath the date may seem insignificant to most people, but collectors know that every mint mark tells part of the coin's journey. It identifies where the coin was struck and becomes one of the first details experts examine before evaluating its collector appeal. Thousands of people still overlook wheat pennies simply because they appear old and common. Yet dedicated collectors search bankrolls, estate sales, antique shops, and inherited collections every single year because they know remarkable discoveries often hide where no one expects them. For the purpose of today's countdown, this 1,955 with D Lincoln wheat penny is presented with an estimated collector market value of $160,300. That's another powerful reminder that history, preservation, and collector demand can transform an ordinary-looking 1-cent coin into something truly remarkable. But don't assume you've already seen the biggest surprise. The next wheat penny moves us one step closer to the grand finale, and its story may leave an even stronger impression than everything you've seen so far. Next up, now we're entering the final stretch of today's treasure hunt, and the discoveries are becoming even more compelling. This 1,939 Lincoln wheat penny, struck without a mint mark, is older than every coin we've explored so far. Just hold that thought for a moment. This penny began its journey before World War II, passing through one of the most important periods in American history. Imagine the number of pockets, cash registers, and family homes it may have visited over nearly 9 decades. At first glance, its appearance tells the story of time itself. The coin carries a natural brown layer across its surfaces, while a small green spot hints at years of aging and environmental exposure. To many people, these details might look like imperfections, but experienced collectors often see something very different: a coin that has survived an extraordinary journey without losing its historical identity. Because it has no mint mark, this wheat penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That tiny missing detail immediately becomes one of the first things knowledgeable collectors notice. Every date, every mint, and every surviving example contributes another piece to the larger story of Lincoln wheat pennies, making careful examination essential before any old cent is dismissed. Its almost fine condition means much of its original design is still visible despite decades of circulation. Lincoln's portrait continues to show recognizable detail, while the famous wheat ears on the reverse remain a powerful reminder of a classic American coin series that collectors have admired for generations. Now imagine discovering this penny inside an envelope labeled simply old coins. Most people would glance at it for only a second. They would inspect the date, check for a mint mark, study the surfaces, and wonder whether they had just uncovered a forgotten piece of history hiding in plain sight. That's what makes treasure hunting through old coins so exciting. You never know which ordinary-looking penny deserves extraordinary attention until you take a closer look. For the purpose of today's countdown, this 1,939 no mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny is presented with an estimated collector market value of $190,800. It's another reminder that history, age, and collector demand can sometimes elevate a simple 1-cent coin into something truly remarkable. And now, only one wheat penny remains. If you thought the journey ended here, think again. The final coin isn't just another old penny. It stands as the crown jewel of today's countdown, and its story is the one you won't want to miss. Next up, we've reached the final reveal of today's wheat penny countdown, the coin that brings this entire treasure hunt to its most unforgettable moment. At first, this 1,944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, appears calm and ordinary. It carries a beautiful overall look, a light black layer across the reverse, and a pleasing, fine condition that reflects decades of careful survival. To someone rushing through a handful of old coins, it might seem like just another vintage penny. But true collectors know that the greatest discoveries often arrive quietly. This coin was struck in 1944 during one of the most historic periods in American history. While the world was changing around it, this small copper coin began a journey that has now lasted more than 80 years. Imagine everything it may have witnessed, passing from one generation to the next, tucked inside old wallets, forgotten in dresser drawers, hidden in family coin jars, and nearly spent countless times without anyone realizing its collector appeal. The missing mint mark tells us it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the most recognized facilities in American coinage. For experienced collectors, that simple detail is never overlooked. Every date and every mint tells a different chapter in the story of Lincoln wheat pennies, and every surviving example becomes another piece of history preserved in metal. Look closely at its surfaces. The natural aging, the attractive overall appearance, and the light black toning on the reverse give this coin a personality that cannot be recreated. Collectors often appreciate originality because it reflects a coin's authentic journey through time rather than an artificially altered appearance. Now picture yourself opening an old wooden box that belonged to a grandparent. Inside are dozens of forgotten wheat pennies. Most people would see only old cents, but after watching today's video, you would slow down, examine every date, search for every mint mark, and realize that hidden treasures don't always announce themselves. They wait patiently to be discovered. For the purpose of today's countdown, this 1944 no-mint Mark Lincoln wheat penny is presented with an estimated collector market value of $185,600. Whether you're an experienced collector or someone who has never searched through a coin jar before, this coin reminds us that remarkable collector stories can begin with something as small as a single penny. And that's the real lesson from today's journey. The next incredible discovery may not be in a museum or behind auction glass. It could already be sitting in your home, waiting for the day someone decides to take one more careful look before spending it.